Welcome back. Welcome back to our special program on the US elections, coming to you from Washington, our studios here in Washington. When film director Oliver Stone was looking for his next film, he looked no further than the White House. The man famous for films such as JFK and Nixon decided that he would tell the story of President George W. Bush even before he left office. The result is the film W, which is in the cinemas now, just a week before the election. Before we meet up with Oliver Stone, here's a taste of W.
No. Well, looks like we're hitting it off like grease hits a skillet, huh?
Well, I don't think politics should define a human being. There's more to people than just how they vote.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You're open-minded. Yeah, much more so than me, I'd have to say.
I read in the paper that you're running for Congress.
Yes, ma'am, I am. And I don't believe in forcing myself on people, so that's why I'm just going to ask for your phone number, not your vote.
You're a devil. Devil in a white hat.
Oliver, it's great to see you again.
Nice to see you again, David.
The movie, W, did you always plan it to come out just before the American elections so it would have an effect on those elections?
No, no. When we started the movie, Hillary Clinton was running against Rudy Giuliani, so it was too specific for us. The W is about for me, a bigger story. It's about a man who's a two-term president who took America to a place where he changed it. He changed not only America, but I think he changed the world. And I think he is an impact of George Bush that is going to last way beyond his exit. I think my grandchildren will be talking about him in 2030, 2040.
When you say George W. took America to a place it hadn't been and so on, was that entirely by what he did in Iraq?
No, I think the whole ideological rigidity and conviction. We're in 3 wars, David. I mean, whatever they say, it really is 3 wars. It's Iraq, it's Afghanistan, looms as a bigger war, and as a potential another Vietnam. And then there's the war on terror, which is global. He's declared it as a long war, so is the Pentagon. And we've increased our naval fleet in South America. We've sent a new Army command to Africa. America has bases in 120 countries. We are a legitimate empire, and I think that we have almost $1 trillion military budget. $1 trillion. That's what is that? 1,000 billion. $1 trillion into military. I don't know how our economy, how people in America, where 65% of our budget is military. Our country is on steroids, and I think Bush pushed every button on the way, not only with the war on terror, but using that for political reasons, I think, to enhance his party, politicize the government. And frankly, we can get into it, but he reinterpreted the Constitution. And to give your old hero, Nixon, he reinterpreted the Constitution to gain more presidential power.
And in terms of doing that and having that effect, isn't it lessened by the fact that he has been quite rejected by the electorate? I mean, he's not running for this election, obviously, but the figures are very low.
This is true, and I'm hoping for the best. I personally have supported Obama throughout from the beginning. And, you know, I hope for America to take a new direction, but it's going to take time. We can't expect Obama to turn this whole country around. With that kind of military budget, you know America, how do you cut into the contractors? How do you get the money out of government? How do you... These special interests and large corporations are huge gridlock. The media could, the moment Obama, if he were successful, they once said he has 100 days to move, you know, like Kennedy did, move fast. But if he doesn't, media is going to get on him too, you know. So it's very hard to get things done in America, and I'm worried about that. But Bush has dug us into a hole. It's gotten very bad.
And the point is that about the film that's interesting is that you actually, while you obviously disapprove of Bush's policies and so on, and what Bush did, the film surprises people by being quite lenient, not malicious, about George Bush the man.
My politics are what they are, and I'm not hiding them. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. When I go to make a movie, I'm a dramatist. I want to tell a good story. This is a great story. This guy went from being sort of a failed black sheep son at the age of 40. He'd achieved very little in his life, nothing, in fact. His father was better at baseball, better at school, better at politics, better at making money. The son had no success. So there was a certain bitterness and anger in the man, I think. And from that position, he does a redemption, sort of a prodigal son returns home. And that's sort of the second act of this movie, where the prodigal son is reaccepted and he becomes a businessman and a governor of Texas. Then, I think what is the final twist in the movie is his third act, which is where he becomes president. And here we have sort of the prodigal son meets Icarus, if you remember the Greek myth, because he's the son who wanted to fly higher than his father, but whose wings melted when he flew too close to the sun. He died, and the son. You remember the story of Icarus when he. Yeah. Anyway, I think Prodigal Son Meets Icarus is a great original twist, and frankly, it's not fiction, David. It's true. Nixon, I know you knew him, and I made a movie about him. And Reagan, I see Nixon as his grandfather. I see Reagan as his father. But I think that Bush has had a greater impact than either man, ultimately, in the history of the world.
And do you think that Obama, if he were to win, could change things, but it would take longer and it would be quite difficult? If McCain was to win, which the odds are lengthening on that, but would he continue the trends that you are concerned about, or would he change things too?
He may change things, but he definitely is a warrior. He's declared himself so. He seems to have an us versus them aggressive posture about most situations, Russia, Iran. I don't see a negotiator, a flexible mind at work there. I do think it would be a Bush third term, as Obama has said.
And I mean, as you look at the various characters in the movie, I mean, the performance there of Josh Brolin is very, very good as W, isn't it?
Yeah. He's very you know, Josh, you know, when you act a movie, you have to like the person. I mean, when Mr. Bush gets up in the morning, and we take the point of view that he likes himself. He believes in what he's doing. He believes in freedom and democracy, making Iraq a demonstration model for change in the Middle East. We believe that he sees himself as the good person versus the bad person. It's sort of a Manichaean view of the world. The terrorists are bad guys, evil doers, he's said many times. He's often used Christian phraseology. Josh plays him from the inside out. Josh likes the guy, and he walks in his shoes. And frankly, there is a goofy awkwardness about Bush, a chumminess. If you remember John Wayne, I'm sure you met him. His politics were horrendous. He wanted to nuke Hanoi.
To the right of Genghis Khan, yeah.
But when he was on the screen, there was something likable about him, as tough as he was. And I think of Bush as a bit of a cowboy when he won't back down if he makes, you know, at the end of the movie we have the press conference and he doesn't apologize. What have you done wrong, sir? And he shrugs. I've done nothing wrong. I've done everything right, he thinks. So that kind of an attitude is very American. It's very cowboy.
Yeah. Did you have any pressure from politicians or authority on the thing? Or the Republicans saying you should do a movie about John McCain for equal time purposes or anything? Any pressure?
Well, as you know, generally speaking, in my movies are always pounded by certain groups, and you know the Republicans have never been. But I do think the movie goes down the middle, and I think it's a moderate movie. It's a humanistic movie, and what it does, it puts you in the shoes of Bush and his wife and his administration. It explains Mr. Cheney's point of view, I think, very well and convincingly. It explains Mr. Rumsfeld's point of view and Mr. Powell's point of view. And at the end of the movie, you understand how these people think, why the American people elected them, and how we got to where we are. And now the question is, of course, where do we go from here?
Oliver, thank you so much.
Thank you, David. It was nice to see you again. And good luck with your movie. I hear that you're up against, you're back with Richard Nixon again.
Yes, we're inseparable.
You are.
Oliver Stone there, talking with me about his new movie, W. After the break, another star of the silver screen, Danny DeVito, with a cameo, a vignette, one might say, on his view of American voting intentions.